doing? Everybody okay? Good. Thank you for coming because this means a lot for us. Let's see. This okay? Best test. I'm gonna start my opening while everybody's doing this. I have to read this because it's important. So, what is it like to be in the arts and entertainment business in today's multimedia world? And it's hard as heck, as people would say, wouldn't it, Terry?
Yeah, we've been through hell and back.
Exactly.
And we've learned a lot of lessons and we've grown, and I think we're better for it.
And for that, you know, when it comes to things like that, being in Hollywood-based and doing all the things that we're doing, Katarina knows because she's spoken worldwide on a lot of things like that. So how many no's can you get before you give up? We all know what that's like. How many people do you continue to say no when you know what you're doing and it can't be done? We all know what that's like, right? Everybody's been through that, whatever, small business, biggest business, whatever the case may be. So when it comes to that, you can be disappointed, you can get burned out. It's not fun, but obviously you still have to always keep going when it comes to things like that. So one of the things we have to do is, and I'm gonna let Katarina read this part because it's specifically meant for her.
All right, so first of all, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us. Like Brian said, I want to take it back just a step and officially introduce us because I think we just jumped in a little bit. We are all here from Hollywood and we are very happy to be here with you. Very happy to be invited to speak at the Southern Women of Film and Television Conference. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here as well.
Yes.
Brian Sebastian is our leader today. He is the founder of a company called Movie Reviews and More. Brian has been in Hollywood for over 30 years and has interviewed everyone from Oprah to Samuel L. Jackson to everyone in between. He has been instrumental in pushing independent film, and he also is a part owner in the Hollywood Film Festival. So for any of you who are movie people, please make sure to come introduce yourselves to Brian when he is finished.
And you never hear me say any of that.
That's why I wanted to make sure that we acknowledge him. And to his point about the journey, I know many of you in here are on your own journey, and we're going to talk a little bit about how to push through that and share a little bit about our journey and the importance right now of social media, branding, and personal branding. So before I introduce Terry, I just want to take a poll. How many of you in here are personal branding? Artists, musicians, authors, coaches, speakers? Excellent. And how many of you are in the industry in some other capacity? Okay, perfect. Anyone not in film or television in any capacity? Okay, just like playing hooky for the afternoon? All right. Terry Marie is our fitness influencer. This is a woman who has done a whole lot in her life, so I'm going to bump it over to her to share who she is. But talk a little bit, Terry, about who you are and why social media has blown you up. Actually, we're not going to get there yet, and then I'll introduce myself.
I mean, okay,
And
so
I have to stop. This is kind of how we do our show because
Yeah.
we're friends. So we're used to just going back and forth on everything like that.
We're going to be a little
So it's
informal
kinda
today.
fun. So don't
Yeah.
mind us. This is how we do our show. And the way we do our show like this is why we have 61 million viewers a month, 2.2 and counting views a day.
Yeah.
well, I mean, okay, I've been in not only fitness, but I've been acting off and on since I was 5 years old. So growing up in Hollywood, my parents told me that they were not going to pay for me to go to college and become an actress. So I had that hold me back. Well, you know what happened is that basically later on, I decided, you know what, I'm going to pursue this again, but I went into the avenue of fitness because I've always been really into fitness. So I started competing, and I started competing at the age of 46. So you can,
And
won Muscle Beach over a bunch of 20-year-olds. So I'm just saying, anything that you put your mind to, you can do. So after that, I got into my brain that I'm going to start doing entertainment hosting again. So I met up with Brian. And I said, "You're going to hire me. You're
So
going to
here's
have
the
me
thing
be
about
your
Terry
co-host."
now. I didn't go after Terry like I've gone after all my co-hosts. Terry came after me. And I'm like, well, who's this woman that keeps pestering me? So we ended up on a show, Adrenaline Radio in Whittier, California, and she came on the show. And as I look back at all this stuff, Terry's in almost every single photo that I have. I don't know what she did. She either willed her way there. I don't know what she did, but she's there. And she's really good at what she does. She does a lot of red carpet interviews, and she's really feisty and she's tough, so don't mess with her.
Well, I mean, too, and I want to be an influence to women that you don't have to fall apart, that we take care of ourselves. I mean, we have so much at our fingertip as women. And in the old days, you know, after you're 45, you're done in this industry. I'm like, I'm not done. You know, I'm going to be doing this. I will, you know, I'll be athletic until the day I die. I'm not gonna. My dreams are always gonna be there. So you should just never give up, especially on fitness. Writing, anything that you want to do. So, right now I'm out there branding myself as an entertainment host and fitness personality, and I'm doing a damn good job of it. So there you go.
And so just to touch on what Terry just said, I also want to take it back because sometimes the little voice in our head gets in the way. Yeah. She said, I'm working on branding myself as. If you jump over to her YouTube channel, her Facebook channel, her Instagram channel, she is that. And I remember reading an interview that Jennifer Lopez had done. She had just been asked to be a coach on The Voice.
The Voice.
And she was sitting there for the first day, and she's with, the other coaches, voice coaches, and she was like, I don't belong here. And then she's like, wait a second, I'm Jennifer Lopez. I'm worth $420 million. I put out 7 gold records. And so my point is you always will have that little voice in your head. Mm-hmm. So to talk about the little voice in your head, my name is Katerina Kazayas, and I wrote
America's Media Mindset Mentor.
I'm America's Media Mindset Mentor. There's a little flyer about me on your chair, my Hollywood beautiful little headshot. Thank you to my photographer. I'm a media consultant and television host as well, so I host with Terry and with Brian. And part of my journey is same thing. As a little girl, I had a dream to be the blonde Barbara Walters. I'm a small town girl from Calgary, Canada, though, so forgetting the Hollywood glitz and glam for a minute, I was 16, 17 years old thinking, I want to get to Hollywood. And then the little voice said, but you don't know anything about TV. You don't know anyone there. You're not pretty enough. You're not smart enough. How are you going to get there? What if you're on Sunset Boulevard and you're flipping burgers? So the little voice in my head talked me out of my dream. And I thought, well, shoot, if I study finance, I'll be able to buy $25 burgers. So why don't I do that instead? And I spent a career in corporate finance, hardcore investment banking, flying colors, a little Excel spreadsheet, cold Canada, hated my life, but shit, I had 4 houses before I was 30. So on paper, someone did it right. 29 years old, I have a little bit of a nervous breakdown, not for real, but just in my head thinking, how did a decade of my life go by? I'm not supposed to be behind a little spreadsheet. I am too vibrant, too alive, too ready. So here I am, 29 years old. I quit my job. I'm thinking, now I'm going to go to Hollywood. And the little voice comes back. And the little voice says, well, shit, lady, now you're 30. You can't go to Hollywood now. You're 10 years too late.
Hey, I did it at 46, so what are you saying? I mean,
there you go, right?
Because I come from a similar background. I still sell medical software. I have had a really lucrative career in software. So, but I wasn't happy. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm just tired of it. I have to do something else that burns my soul, that makes me happy.
Yeah, so our invitation to you today is going to be what lights up your soul and how are you allowing it into your life? And you don't necessarily have to be as drastic as quitting your job or leaving your hometown or, whatever it is that you want to do, but how can you bring it into your life in some capacity so that it lights you up again? And when it does, how do you use social media? How do you use branding to position yourself as an authority in that space? And that's really what we're here to talk about today, so thank you.
We use social media a different way. Go ahead.
Sorry, you didn't go back.
So my story, real quick, because it's not about me, but just to share. 30 years old, I'm thinking, I'm too late, it's too old. I jumped from corporate finance onto corporate communications because I knew how to do corporate stuff. I still didn't know how to go to Hollywood. So I let another decade go by. Similar to Terry, I wake up one day, I'm 39 years old. Now, in that second decade, I managed to turn the career around. I moved into communications and media. As you can see, I'm a communicator. And I started my own company where I work with people to get them on TV, radio, and print. I've done that in Dubai, Hong Kong, London, Monaco. I've worked with everything from yacht companies to economic thought leaders. I'm very, very adept at locking hands with you and getting your brand positioned, and we'll talk about why that's important. But that wasn't the little girl dream. The little girl dream was to go to Hollywood and become a TV host. Come on in, folks, have a seat. Yeah, no problem. So similar to Terry, 39 years old, everyone's telling me you can't go to Hollywood now. Now I'm saying, well, shit, why not? I think as we get a little bit older, we actually do lose a little bit of that fear because we realize time's running out, and who am I placating anymore? I did what mom and dad wanted. I did what society wanted. I did what do I want to do? So 25 years later, same as Terry, I decided to head to Hollywood, where I've been based for 4 years, and moved myself to a place where I also became a TV host. I run a parallel business, my media consulting company, which is a boutique Hollywood firm. We are considered one of the top digital strategy and media firms in Hollywood. And I have 3 talk shows that I host on, and now I'm here with you, so yeah. Thank you.
And the thing about that is we're social media influencers in a different way. How many people have Instagrams here or YouTube or anything? Here's the thing. You're not going to be influencers in the way you think you would be, but you can do it a different way. So, for example, we're on the Women's Broadcast TV Network, which is now called Worldwide TV Network, so we have 31 million viewers on that. We're also on iTube 247, which is shot in Franklin, Tennessee here. So again, here's the thing. Guess who was by my side last year? Only a year and 2 months ago. Terry and another of my co-hosts, Victoria Renee Hand, which is part of the Edie Mae Hand, Link Hand, Elvis Presley brand, connected to St. Jude's Hospital, which is my favorite charity. I chose her film because I really love watching movies. 5 years ago? I met her, Eric Zuley, on a small little yacht, which was really a boat. And I said, I don't want to go to this. So I took 2 of my other co-hosts. We went. Edie Hand, if you know anything about Elvis, or Edie Hand, who's my southern mom, she goes, I got a movie for you. And I'm like, yeah, everybody comes up and says they have a movie for me. Everybody's got a script or CD or something to sell. But the way she did it, she was passionate. She goes, it's about the story of my life and me being a 5-time cancer survivor. And at that point, she's with her son, Link Hand. And Link's covered up like this, and I'm like, I don't know who he is. I'm like, okay, I'll take it and I'll watch it. Long story short, her movie was very good. It was a short film called The Last Ride. And I put it in the Hollywood Film Festival, and it won some accolades for that. And then, 4 years ago, they brought some of the team there. And then last year, I came here. And I was so impressed by what I saw here in Nashville. I'm like, wow, this is pretty good. Just like the fashion show I thought was good outside there. I'm like, this is really good. I'm going to help these women. They don't know I'm going to help them. So I'm looking and I'm analyzing, because I like to choose people. And I like to see who I want to work with. Because as Katarine will tell you, and Terry, I might meet any of you people. I'm like, I already know what to do with you. I already know what to do with you. You don't know what I'm going to do with you, but if you trust our judgment, watch and see what happens.
So on his note, I want to open it up back up to you, but I want to touch on something he said, because he went by it really fast. Brian has built a brand that has 61 million views across all of his platforms. When you're looking to grow, I believe people do things for 2 reasons. Number 1, because they have a passion for it. Number 2, because they want money, okay? Really, at the end of the day, we all want money. Now, if we can couple our passion with money, that's where you get that double whammy. What he did, and what has taken him 30 years, is he has built up the credibility and the brand to 61 million views, 2 million views a day on the shows and the things that he has touched on. Now, why is that important? That's important because all of the things that you see here next to me are given and donated to us by people who are looking to build their corporate brands. And they give them to us to showcase and to get the exposure of the eyeballs that he has managed to get in front of. So part of what we want you to think about is, what is it that you have? Maybe you're a knitter, maybe you're a book reviewer, maybe you're into cars. How can you use that passion to get people to say, hey, you're a guy, what's your name, sir, in the green? Tony. So Tony likes cars. Awesome. So Tony starts putting up these little videos. Nobody's watching them, but Tony's got a passion for cars. So every day he's mucking around in his garage and he puts up a little, 1-minute video on Instagram. Well, there are so many scouts, agents, managers, scouts that are looking at this stuff daily. So he might be doing that for a month, for 2 months, for 3 months. All of a sudden, Tony gets a call from Maserati, and Maserati says, hey, Tony, you're kind of fun. We want to move into a market that's not so flashy, that's not so Saint-Tropez in south of France. You're kind of cool. I like your little green T-shirt there. We're going to send you a Maserati. We want you to drive around in it. He didn't do anything but step into his passion for what he does. So part of it is getting really excited, and Brian's going to talk about who some of our sponsors are, how they came to be sponsors, but I wanted to touch on the fact that 61 million views is somebody whose advice you're going to want to listen to. And again, that's why I said you want to talk to him afterwards. For any of you, and some of you we met, who are looking to advance your singing career or your acting career, Terry could probably talk a little bit about how she advanced her fitness career.
Well, I mean, the thing is that even in fitness, people are always looking to, for supplements, for protein powders, for workout gear. I mean, every time you look at Instagram, you've got, all these fitness personalities, but they're all backed by some kind of sponsor. So again, but what I think the beauty of social media is that it's opened the door to people that not necessarily in the past could maybe advance, you know what I mean? Because the everyday person, there's a kid that's on a Denny's commercial right now because of social media. I don't know, if anybody see that about that story about that kid, the pancake commercial, So stuff like that happens all the time when everyday people are just, some of it's luck, some of it's your passion. I mean, again, if you're in cars and you're fitness and cooking or whatever, you just showcase that passion and build up that audience.
A lot of the things is, and I'm getting into some of the sponsors, is one of our gifting suites that we attend that we really like is Celebrity Connected. Talk about Gene, Celebrity Connected, and why we attend.
Sorry, I just want to. I'm the one that's not from Hollywood, so I'm just going to jump in because I had no idea what a gifting suite was. Anyone know what a gifting suite is?
Yeah.
Okay, most of you. Okay, I had no idea. So for some of you who may not know, basically, a gifting suite is an event that gets put on before a large event. So think of the Super Bowl or the Oscars or the Golden Globes or the MTV Movie Awards. And it's a 2-day event that's put together with a bunch of people who have swag, basically, that they want the celebrities to come in, sample, and then hope that they pick up those sunglasses and wear them on the red carpet. Now, the beautiful thing about being media and having media credentials is we get invited to all of these gifting suites. So we get the behind-the-scenes look at what's the newest, latest, greatest, the same time as the stars do. And now I'm going to let him talk
And
again.
as a host, what I do on the red carpet is I get to interview the actors and then ask the actors or the entertainers or the social media influencers, what products did you like today? Which products are you going to be showcasing? And then I can go and talk to those companies and showcase that and then build my brand with using these people. So again, it's all about networking and
But I cut
connections,
you off,
too.
so you were talking about gifting suites.
Well, that's
But see, and this is how we do our show. But the fun thing about that is because Terry was that go-getter, and being that established woman of who she is, which is why she's nonstop Terry Marie, I watched her, and she was really good. I'm like, wow, how did I not see what she was good at doing? I didn't know that because I didn't find her. Yeah, she told me, but how many people out there say, "Hey, I've got the best movie." Yeah, let me see it because I will take the time to watch your movie, and I'm going to tell you if it's any good or not.
Yeah, but you gave me the opportunity to prove it to you, so I did.
And that's the whole thing.
So Gene, who owns Celebrity Connected, is now has a new sports app called Sportamix. So I'm helping Gene market Sportamix now. So that's opened up another opportunity for me as my brand. And then we went to Super Bowl this year and went to Lee Steinberg's
Because of our
party.
numbers.
Yeah, because
And
of our
you know,
numbers.
Lee Steinberg, who was the number one sports agent out there, all of those people, Lee is on board with the stuff that we do with Sportamix. So Terry had the opportunity to sit down and do a one-on-one, which I was really proud that she did.
Yes, I got to interview Lee Steinberg and then go to the Super Bowl. But I guess my point is that, once you're out there, this stuff starts snowballing with the connections. And then, and I always talk to everybody because you have no idea what, sometimes you see somebody and you're really like, well, I don't know, maybe they can't really do anything to me, but you just never know. Talk to everybody, find out what their passions are, what they're about. Because again, this world is all about networking, and we're all connected somehow spiritually, I believe.
And what I'd love to touch on that, because I think it does come back to the energetic stamp. So what's happened in communications over the last 40 years? How many of you were born before the year 1980? Everyone put their hands up. No, after the year 1980. Okay, you were born in 1980? Oh my gosh, I've never had anyone say they were born in 1980. That's awesome. So what's happened, folks, in the last 40 years with communications is back in 1980, I would meet you, you would meet me. What's your name? Candace. So Candace and I would meet each other. We would have about 20 minutes of time where we could spend on each other, focus time, without getting distracted. People before 1980 remember a little thing called an attention span.
Yes.
What happened at the end of the 90s is that attention span went down to about 12 minutes. Into the 2000s, by the time the invention and the onset of the iPhone, or the iPad, I think iPhone, which was 2010, people had a 3-minute attention span. Can anyone guess what it is in 2019? It's 8 seconds. So you now have 8 seconds to engage me, whether that's face-to-face or whether that's on social media, before I get bored and I start to scroll to the next thing. It is imperative, as we head into 2020, that you figure out how to effectively communicate who you are and what you're about. And the quickest and easiest way to do that is to give off something we call an impression of increase. So what's an impression of increase? An impression of increase is letting another person feel like by aligning to you, they're going to benefit. As somebody who works with high net worth individuals to strategically position their language, I work with them on body language and effective language. I want to leave you with one more stat, which I think is really important for you to know. 5% of how we communicate, 5% comes from our words. 30 to 35% comes from our tonality. So, gentlemen, have you ever had a girlfriend where you're asking her, hey, honey, are you mad? And she goes, nope. Are you listening to the nope, or are you listening to the voice, right? Which means 50 to 55 is coming from body language. How are you pointing your feet? How are you raising your eyebrow? Is your eyebrow raising in the right direction? And if it is, what does it mean to the other person? Whether you ever have aspirations of being interviewed by Oprah or not, I'm going to meet you one-on-one at a meeting, at a networking function. I might be your mortgage broker. You want to be able to be in command of what your body is telling you, but even more so, to touch on what Terry talked about, and Brian has already tapped into, and that is spirit. Folks, the energy of the future, the communication of the future, is not even going to come from our body language. It's literally going to come from the alignment to source, to the divine, to our truth. And one of the reasons things have opened up for us, and this is part of why we get passionate to share, part of why, I'm really glad people like Mallory and Sarah showed up today. When you allow that passion to come through, then the universe just does open up.
You connect with people a lot easier because they know you're genuine.
Yeah.
When you're genuine about your passions, like, people see that, because there'll be a lot of people on social media you see all the time that that they're just kind of there because they want to be famous, and you're just like, ugh, God, I want to watch that person. No, because it comes across really quickly. So, and another thing is I'm noticing that more people on social media are like, the quick Instagram videos do much better than a YouTube video, because again, the attention span is getting even less and less and less as time goes.
And talking about the social media influencers, so in our network, we have 97 million followers when it comes to our social media network. That's not me personally. That's the people that I know that I found. Thinking whether the Collins family, Weekly Chris, I found him, when he was 19, he's 24 now. He has 32 to 34 million followers on all platforms. His brother Crawford has 3 million followers. His sister Kirsten, who's the oldest, she's only 25 now, she has 1.5 million. Their youngest sister, Charisma, has 2.5 million.
I think
That whole family.
Now,
is
you know you're
55
going to have
million
followers if your name is Charisma, though, right?
But my point is that whole family that I found them at a Hollywood Film Festival. I chose them through one of our friends. I kept in contact with them. I have 55 million followers following me when I invite them to the things that I do. When we were together, Terry wasn't there. She had something else going on. Katerina met them.
We were at the
a
Bill
and
Gates
Melinda Gates
Foundation.
Foundation.
Yeah.
I walked in with 56 million followers behind me. So everybody knew who I was and what we were doing, but a lot of people didn't know, because I don't want everybody to know. I want to have the right people involved with us. I think that's important.
I do think that there's a big market now for us older people like myself to basically be influencers, because a lot of them are younger, and I want people to speak to me. So that's why I want to be, speaking in the world of fitness to women over 40, because there's not a lot of us doing it. So I guess my point is don't let that thing get in your head, because there's a huge market for that demographics. And it's not being tapped.
No, and exactly to Terry's point, if you are looking to brand yourself, looking to move into a new phase of your career. It's something we call in the industry brand marriage. Who can you align yourself to that has a bigger name than you do? Brian is really well known in Hollywood, and yet he aligned to a family that has 55 million viewers. So all of a sudden, he's got all those people looking at him. Tony's going to align with Maserati, right? All of a sudden, Maserati, he's going to be able to gain that recognition from an already established brand. For us, you'll see our cute little glasses here, so we want to give a shout out to Cindy
Yes.
Wade. Cindy Wade designs
Absolutely.
these. She made some for Kathy Lee Gifford as well, so it's kind of fun as TV hosts that we got one and Kathy Lee Gifford got one. And she put our names on them, and we got these complimentary.
You know when she
Simply
did 'em? I
because we
told
get
her
to be in
do
front
'em.
of people.
I purposely waited 2 years for the right moment for her to do these glasses. I didn't know who it was going to be, but I loved her product and her brand. We met at Celebrity Connected, Gene Chinaris' event that he does, which is really good. But by her doing that, she did this Tuesday. Today is Friday.
Yep.
They came today. You know, it's funny. We were so excited because without that real energy, believe it or not, it could have come yesterday. It could have come Monday with what's going on with stuff. When I opened the badge, we took pictures of it. Katarina picked out one of the glasses. Whose glass do you think she picked out?
They were covered because in
We
plastic
didn't know
and
which
bubble
glasses,
wrap.
we didn't know which ones because there were like 5 boxes in there. She picked hers. And then
Good on you.
I'm like, okay, let's open this one and see who this is. I picked mine, and we took pictures of this. And then Terry.
Well, mine was the only one left, so of course it was going to be
But,
mine.
but here's the trippy thing about this. Terry was busy doing something else. She comes out, she's wearing a blue dress.
So I
Right?
matched my cup on, yeah.
I go, Terry, do you know what you're wearing? You just happen to wear what she painted Tuesday. That was Tuesday.
So, just talking about energetic stamp, what you want to do, folks, is there's communication, which is what we're doing. There's something called confidence, which, confident people get further in life. They just do. And people mistake the fact that confidence is an ingrained character trait. It's not. Confidence is absolutely learnable. And you align that with something called charisma. So confidence, communication, and charisma. What I love about charisma is when you peel back that layer of the onion, under charisma is personal magnetism. When you are lit from the inside out, you don't have to do a lot of action. You simply have to be, and frequency, energy, alignment, quantum physics dictates that things are going to be attracted to you. You wonder why successful people keep getting more and more successful, because they've somehow tapped into that truth for themselves. And so when Brian says we picked out our glasses and then Terry comes out in a blue dress, I mean, I am coming from such a conservative background. I'm wondering, is that coincidence or is there something really to this stuff? And the older I get, the more I feel that there is. I want to just real quick for you folks, because I want to make sure we're giving you some tangible, solid stuff. Social media, yes, everyone's on social media? Okay. If you're not visible across all 4 pillars of the media, you are absolutely leaving money on the table. What are the 4 pillars? TV, radio, print, and digital. Okay? Everyone is in social media, and they're saying to you that traditional media is dead. They are wrong.
Yeah.
Why are they wrong? What's your name? Sharina. All right, Sharina, I'm going to invite you onto my Facebook Live. Will you come? Sharina's going to say absolutely. So Sharina is in her kitchen. I'm in my kitchen. We're doing our Facebook Live in our kitchen. Awesome. My mom likes that video. But what's your name? Abby takes that same half an hour that she would have spent on my show in my kitchen and her kitchen, but Abby gets a little more strategic. And Abby says, you know what? I recognize that there's some validity to being seen on my local Channel 6, that there's some validity to being quoted in the Wall Street Journal, that there's validity to being heard on Sirius XM. What happens is there is an immense amount of third-party credibility that goes into the mind of the consumer, whether that's a potential client, a potential partner, a potential financier, when they see you on your local Channel 6. So if you're not leveraging all 4 pillars, I really invite you to get really, really clear on why. Because social media is great, but it will not catapult you past your competition. And that's one of my little key phrases. But what Brian can attest to is what's happened in the world of media the last probably 3 years is traditional media and digital have merged. Broadcast and digital have merged. What do I mean by that? If you're over and born before 1980, you're going to remember this thing called a TV, right? It used to be on your wall. So NBC used to broadcast their show on your TV on your wall. Well, now NBC is broadcasting that same show on NBC.com. Okay? And Brian's watching that show when he's sitting at the airport on his iPad on NBC.com. My point is, what you want to do is you want to aggressively chase that media, because it will absolutely give you that brand credibility that's going to make people start saying, who is that? When Brian is out scouting for people to support, people to highlight, people to invite on his shows, he's looking for the people that have already proven, at least with their energetic stamp, that they are confident enough to step forward. And that's really what we do, is we act as a bridge for you to get to where you want to be. Some of you want to be in Hollywood, some of you don't. But because we have figured out the hard way how to make this happen, we are collectively really passionate and have systems and signature programs in place where we give you that roadmap. And that just kind of lights us up, if you can tell.
One of the things about, I always go into this. If you were to guess what network is the most popular, who would you guess? Now, who would you say? NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox? Who would you say? Who would you say?
NBC.
Why? What's your name?
Kirsty.
Why would you say that?
I just think they're all over the place. I think they use the people that are on their network very carefully. You know, it's almost like incestuous in a way. You know,
Yeah.
Jimmy Fallon has people on his show. They're all on NBC shows. So it's just all this constant building of an interest in what that guest, I'm just speaking about Jimmy Fallon's show, that guest is doing, but it's always going back to Universal, NBC. That's my.
The good thing about that, which is why I wanted to ask, because I'm a TV critic, so it's called TCA, Television Critics Association. So I was there when Jimmy did his first, before he started taking over from Jay Leno, who's a friend, before they moved it to New York. It was always here, going back to Carson in NBC in California, in Burbank. So Disney has their hands on everything. Disney has Marvel. You've heard of the Avengers, right? There's a reason they brought Marvel. Disney's got Pixar. Think of Toy Story, which opened today, Toy Story 4. I was there for the first one. Think of Pixar, Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars franchise. So there's a reason why I scoop all that stuff up. You know how much money they're making now? A lot. But you know how much they're in debt? You won't hear that part. Because they just acquired Fox. So there's no more Fox films now. You know why? Because it's all about content. Content is king. So the more, going back to what Katarina was saying before, by you going on that local channel or whatever it may be, or even writing a blog, or whatever the case may be, that content will help you with everything that you need to know. Because that's what it's most important about. So for me, I can say I'm one of those few people left around the world that's interviewing all those people left. I'm kind of a dinosaur, but you know what? There's myself, there's Jay Leonard. I mean, I can't remember his
Siskel
name.
and Ebert.
Well, they're passed away. You know, like I said, the one thing I knew, just like Terry was a go-getter, is that I was going to outlast everybody. I'm going to do this until I'm 86. I will look like Sidney Poitier. I've got some gray hairs now, but it's okay. But I got a great team around, and there'll be other ones coming in. And then talking about branding when it comes to stuff, the reason why I like my LED lights, you know, Linda and Darryl Frisco over there, they drove 10 hours to be here with their friends. But what happened with this, we found them at Celebrity Connected, going back to a gifting suite, supporting small business. Terry did the interview with that, and I sat there, I took the pictures, I'm like, oh, I like these lights, I can do stuff with this. That's what I was thinking about. So last year, when I came to see what was going on with SWIP, for the first year, I'm like, I can work with this. I can pick some good films, I can bring some people from Los Angeles, we can trade our stories, we can help educate people who might want to come here to Los Angeles to be prepared to go out there, because it's a minefield. And we've talked about that. She's a native. I came from Connecticut. She came from Calgary to Miami to Los Angeles. It's not easy being out there, is it?
Yeah, the one thing for anyone that is looking to head to a bigger market, Some of you have come from smaller markets to this market, because Nashville is a pretty big market. It's an entertainment town. And so I know there's a few Canadians in the room, and we migrate to here. And from here, arguably, you would go to either New York or LA. The thing is, anytime you go to a bigger market, you're moving into a place that is more expensive. So I just want to give you that heads up real quick, because we forget to make sure, it's great to go after your passion, and I'm all a big passion advocate, but you want to make sure you're financially stable, because the biggest thing that's going to cut off and absolutely kill your creativity is stress about paying your bills. And when I left Los Angeles, the gas was $4.80, okay? Ouch. I went to the grocery store last week. I bought spinach and a chicken and some Tide. It was $80. I left there with $80 bill. I had 5 things in my hands. The rent or the mortgages out there, the homes, you buy an 800 square foot home for $500,000. You pay $5,500 rent for a 2-bedroom condo. So you want to be really sure that whatever step you're making, either have your nest egg or have some people that you know can offer you an opportunity. Because what we see is people come to places like Hollywood, New York, and probably even Nashville, thinking, okay, I'm going to give myself a 3-month window. You can't even get an audition in 3 months.
It's not even easy being from there, but see,
Yeah.
but being from California, like, I think it was kind of a blessing, because I'm so naive, because I don't know any better. So like, everything's always been expensive, but I'm just saying, like, being there, it's like, even if everything's in your backyard, it's still, you get beat up. I mean, that's, one of the reasons why I got out of entertainment and then got a degree in health science and, went into software. But it's just not, it's not easy. So anyway.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, finish, go ahead.
And I was going to ask, anyone ever been snowboarding in here? Any snowboarders? All right, but you all know what snowboarding is. All right, my Canadian is coming out. So, what happens when people want to try something new, and I know because it happened to me, is, okay, here I am, I'm 40 years old, I'm going to Hollywood. The first thing I do is go get an agent, right? No. Do not go look for an agent until you're ready for an agent. But because I had really great communication skills, I wrangled myself an interview with one of the top house managers. This was a woman that put Ryan Seacrest on the map, and some of the big TV celebrity hosts that you see. And I said to her, hey, I'm here. She kind of looked me up and down. Okay, well, what can you do? And I said, well, I've been around the world as a media person, blah, blah, blah. So she says, okay, I'll give you a chance. She puts me up in front of a teleprompter, and she says, okay, read this. I mean, I had no idea. Where do you put your hands? How do you pace the sentences? How do you lean into the conversation? No idea. So do you guys remember those like black and white films in the 30s where they used to have that hook, right? And the hook used to come out and hook you? Yeah. So I was telling my friend Jenny, I was like, I was looking around for this hook to come out. Like, please, God. There was no hook. So here I am in Hollywood, my very first week. I hadn't even unpacked my bags yet, and all I wanted to do was leave that room and pack them up and go home. I left that room crying my eyes out, because here I had imploded my life thinking I'm going to Hollywood at 40, and I couldn't even get through an hour audition. And I had a choice when I woke up that next morning. The reason I bring up snowboarding is, you get on a snowboard and you think, how hard is this going to be, right? It's a little board and some ice. You've got these illusions of grandeur that you're just going to go. But what happens in snowboarding is you fall on your butt.
And you go down the hill
and
on
you
your
fall
butt.
on your butt. You fall on your butt. Yeah, like you can't go 2 feet without falling on your butt. But you have a choice the next morning, and the choice is, do I get up and take my little bruised butt and my big bruised ego back onto the hill and try again, or do I quit? The reason why we're all up here is because we didn't quit. And I literally went and found a mentor. I got on-camera media training for 3 years after that. Next thing I know, I'm sitting across Elton John, Sharon Stone, Sting, going, well, shit, I made it happen. So please just don't give up.
That's funny, because when we would call junketeers, so we would have a radio roundtable, so we would sit like here. Talent would come into the room with their publicist. Kathy knows what this is like back there. I always sat here to the left, to the right, because I always wanted to make sure that they remembered me. Wouldn't you know, I was always the only black guy in the room. So 3 things are going to happen when you left that room. You're going to remember me as I sat next to the black guy. The next time you come in for the next movie, oh, the same black guy is there. We're gonna have the conversation. The conversation would be here. So I always made sure the mic is here. I'm like, just shoot to the mic. I need to clean sound so I can take it and I can sell it. The other thing is, you gotta remember the name Sebastian. Sebastian is a great name to remember. Little Mermaid. That's the other thing. The third thing is, I know every single movie or TV show they've been in. No one in that round table could beat me. So at that same time, we're not supposed to take photos. This is go back to the day. Disposable cameras. We're not supposed to take photos. So anybody know who The Rock is? Dwayne Johnson?
Yes.
DJ? Okay, so I knew his grandfather, the great Chief Peter Maivert from wrestling, WWE. I grew up as a wrestling fan in Connecticut, where I came from. His father was Rocky Johnson. Then Dwayne Johnson became a wrestler. I knew he was gonna be starting to do films, because what do wrestlers wanna do and people in sports? They wanna move on to the next thing. They all think they can be in broadcasting, and they can't, which goes back to the media training. You gotta be ready. You may be good on a football field and a wrestling meeting, but that doesn't mean you can talk, right?
I took
So the
hosting
whole thing.
classes.
But
I
the-
took,
well,
I'm
the
just
thing
saying,
about that-
I stayed at Susan Sienna's hosting workshop. I did 3, and I did growlings.
I think it's
so,
skills
yeah,
refinement.
yeah.
But the thing is, I'm saying about that is, in 2001, I knew that only 2 people watched wrestling, for one. The 2 people knew who he was, too. And my whole thing was, I'm getting a picture with him. This is 2001 for The Mummy Returns. Who is the highest paid entertainer today? Who is doing producing, acting, still in the world of wrestling, in the world of fitness? He's got a great, strong woman behind him. His ex-wife, who's still his manager, Danny Garcia, who's a popular around the world in the world of publicity now, Dwayne Johnson. My photo of him in 2001 is this huge guy with this big, long neck, and me small like him. On disposable camera. One click.
Thank you, Kodak.
Exactly. And you're not even supposed to take photos. There was no way I was leaving that room without that photo.
Now, can I ask you why? Like, there's something you must have felt in him. How
I
did you
knew.
know? How did you know where he was going to be 20 years?
Because he could talk on the mic. He was good in the ring. You ever hear, do you smell what The Rock is cooking? Or what's your name? No, who cares what your name is? He was great. Look where he is now. He's on Ballers. He was in the world of fitness last year at the Olympia, which is the Olympic, the officers of the fitness world. He is huge when it comes to stuff, but I knew back then. So for me, you have women's intuition. I have what you call intuitive knowing. It's the same thing. So if I'm tapping into that, I kind of know what you are, what you need to have, but I still have to talk to you to get the feeling of what's going on. But the whole thing about that, he's $86 million he made last year. He made. And I met him in 2001. So when we see each other, hey brother, how you doing? That's what that goes to.
And on that note, talking about speaking, we'd love to open this up to some questions if you have any for us. We've got about, 10, 15 minutes left?
Yeah.
So if you have any questions for us, we'd love to take them. Yes?
See, I'm old and you're talking really fast, so with the 4 pillars that, I thought you were saying Instagram,
Oh.
Snapchat, but it's TV, radio, digital, and print?
Yes. Yeah, so what I mean by that is when you're thinking TV, we're interchanging that right now with the TV on your wall, NBC, and the TV in your hand, YouTube, podcasts, digital, Netflix, Hulu, HBO.
Where would you put Facebook in that too?
Facebook
Because-
and that Facebook Live would be more considered TV than it would social media.
So is Instagram Live now.
Yeah, so Instagram Live would be TV. So that's interchangeable. It's with the broadcast and digital merging. When we talk radio, we're also talking talk radio, podcasts. When we're talking print, we're talking literally the newspaper you pick up and the old paper where you used to fold it, and the .com version of that. So Forbes.com, OWN Magazine, OprahMagazine.com. I mean, everything's a .com now. But you want to be across all those platforms. Easiest thing to break into, again, for those of you that want to establish your brand, how many of you are familiar with a site called Thrive Global? Write this down. Thrive Global is the new, thriveglobal.com, is the new baby of Arianna Huffington. She was the one that founded the Huffington Post. Arianna Huffington was this hardcore businesswoman, 80-hour weeks, never slept, and ended up collapsing on the ground in her office. I think this was about 6-7 years ago now. And she woke up and said to herself, why am I driving myself to this level of exhaustion? It's the old masculine paradigm of do, where you're impressed with yourself because you're not sleeping. Well, that's shifting now. And it literally is shifting to a place of a little more feminine energy, not female, but feminine, which is more about collaboration, creativity, intuition, as Brian was saying.
Which
One
is
of the
why I'm on
reasons,
the women's broadcast TV
yeah,
channel.
and one of the reasons he's done so well is he allows that intuition to come into play. But with Ariana, she decided sleeping and getting her rest was more important. So she sold the Huffington Post, and she started a new health and wellness website, which is Thrive Global. The reason I'm telling you this is they are open to people writing blogs for their site. You do have to apply and you do have to qualify, but it's the quickest way to build up really great credibility because of the Ariana Huffington stamp behind it. If you can become a contributor on Thrive Global, that'll give you a nice leg in, and the media will start to pay attention. So that's a little tip from us to you.
Can I ask you a question? Because
Yeah.
this is just how I think. I think people need to learn to work smarter, not so much harder. And I've always been a believer in that. If you kind of plan things out instead of just kind of throwing stuff out there without a plan, you're going to be more successful. You know, because it's not so much about, you know, because you can work, you know, and not sleep and get nowhere and just bang your head against the wall.
And there's a lot of people doing that
do that.
too.
Mhm.
I'm a planner. I definitely have to have stuff that's going on, and I write everything down. I've been writing everything down since I was in high school. But here's what I did know. My intention, going back to what Katarina was saying earlier, my intention is very strong. And even if I'm having an off day, I can change my thinking back. I'm like saying, no, I can't have anything negative going in. It's not easy, but it is easy to do. And then when it comes to getting the brands, that's why, you know, I like Katarina's book, you know, on mental slavery. There's things in there that I remind her about that she wrote, because we all have to be reminded that we have to do this because we all have certain bad days or just a bad day. And when it comes to the branding of things, when I see my movie reviews and more like that Daryl and Linda made for me over there, I love this. I take this on the red carpet. You know how many people do that in the world? Me. This comforter over here that Jimmy Snyden gave to me, we went to the gifting suite. We had an article wrote about us, my friend, at the GBK gifting suite. And Katarina was there, so she got her blanket. I didn't get mine, someone stole mine. But this one is here, and what it does, it helps with people who have anxiety, you can't sleep, you're depressed, it comforts you. It's comfortable, isn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Mine's gray. Yeah.
And then on the end, that's actually a butt pillow. I found this thing at Celebrity Connected. And I'm like, oh, I could do wonders with this. I could really market the hell out of that.
Do you want me to
And
show
I
you?
have.
It's pretty funny.
And it's comfortable. Katarina's been sleeping on it.
So I'm gonna live into my Vanna White fantasy now. So it literally is a butt. Yeah.
No, now let's see. Everybody laughs, but it's comfortable, isn't it?
It is comfortable.
So think of the wildest thing. If Kim Kardashian had this, do you not think she's not going to make money on this with her fans? Are you kidding me? You know, and then books over here. My friend Irma Grusin, she reached out to me. Brian, I have a book. I want to make it into a TV series. And I'm like, okay, I got to read another book? Because I get a lot of books sent to me through the year. But if you send one to me, I will read it. I will read it, because I don't think you should talk about something that you don't know anything about, you haven't seen it, you haven't listened to it. So she's from Calgary.
Yeah.
And she wrote it's a
My
five-series.
the little one up there is, oh, she is too. Irma's from Calgary too?
Yeah.
And I'm from Calgary too?
And she's
Holy
an engineer.
crow. I didn't
but
know that.
it's about real life stuff that her kids went to, and she puts it into fairy, and they have cartoons in it. It's really good, really easy read. She's on her that's the first two. She's finished the third, and she's going to finish the last two by the end of this year. The reason she's doing that, because I challenged her to do it, and she's doing it, and it's very good. So all these products, when it comes to this, you know, Linda and Daryl, they make some great lights, which is why they came back. But also, at a small business, they were on our show last year. Take a guess how many views we got from 2 shows that we did with them on there. Throw out some numbers.
1 million. 40.
More. What'd you say?
40 million.
Not yet, but we will be there. So, here's the number from today. They were there when Edie's show went up yesterday. Can you see this number? everybody?
2.2 million
This is
views.
today. This
just
was at
today.
7:15 this morning. So the two shows that they were on
And their
last year,
product is in here.
one is at 653,000 views and counting. The other one is at 555 plus views and counting. Last night, when the Edie Hand show went up, remember I said it was 24 views? It was at 6,000 views at 7:15 this morning. 6,000.
We have a question over here, yeah.
I'm a voice actor and done
I've done voiceovers, yep. I love
classical
that.
trained singers. I've done radio and all of that for years, but I also have to pay rent.
Yeah.
And I had a company recently fall in my lap. I'm starting it. One of my clients is a law of attraction master. She has a YouTube channel. Suddenly now I am a social media consultant for her, building her brand and doing a lot of digital marketing. I'm new and you guys are way advanced and I do everything from writing copy to influencer management to digital media branding. Could you give me please some advice on how to build this coming up? Because I love doing something like this and it's very intriguing, but I could use some polish on gaining great new clients that I can help benefit.
And that's why we have our, this is a great question. For anyone that has the same question, because I know there's a few more, come see us afterwards. We do specifically have packages and signature systems specifically designed for this kind of training. So do come talk to us. We'll let you know what that looks like. Because we've got, like we said, the roadmap, and we also have the contacts, and we also have the expertise.
And the content. Remember, the content
Yeah.
is king as you.
So come talk to me after.
What's your name?
I didn't hear anything, and this could be old, but I was pitching the other day, and someone asked me about podcasting. So what is still going on with podcasting?
So for me, I come from traditional radio.
Okay.
So what I did, I like to have a studio. I like to have, if George Clooney comes in, I want to have him come into a studio, we can do stuff. A lot of people do podcasting out of their house.
Yeah, I did one.
Which
for
is
a while.
fine, but you can only go so far. It's a good start.
That's what I was thinking. So I was like, I didn't even know how to even respond to them, to be honest with you, because I was referring to a beauty show that I was pitching, and it kind of caught me off. I didn't even,
Did they want you to be a guest on the podcast? Is that what happened? Or they want you to start a podcast?
I didn't get into that conversation with them because the pitch, if anybody who's familiar with those, you have about really 5 minutes to do a whole pitch on a 30-minute, episodic.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on, especially if it doesn't have, media out there
Yeah.
and it's something
Come talk
new.
to me later, too.
Yeah, okay. I'm actually on the film comp
Oh,
board and
okay.
I might miss you.
No problem.
But I'll try to catch your
Can
information.
you give her one of those cards? And I'll, yeah, and then I'll give you another one. Thanks.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Just because there's a lot about podcasting, and it comes down to something we call the 3 Ps.
Oh, great.
Pitch, polish, pitch, and then promote. You have to polish your content, and like we said, 8 seconds, 5 minutes, half a second. I mean, we really go through that with you. Then what you want to do is you want to pitch it. How do you pitch it effectively? What's the languaging the producers are looking for? And from there, once it's pitched, what do you do to promote it? So those are sort of the 3 chapters, and we have an entire system that walks you through that. It's a great question. One thing I want to say real quick about podcasting, because we get that a lot. Should I do big radio where there's 2 million viewers, Fox Radio or CNN or, Bloomberg Radio, or should I do a podcast? Well, that depends. So what does it depend on? It depends on if Tony's a Maserati car guy and he gets on a car podcast where every listener is into cars, you have a really targeted audience. So podcasting might be a better bet for you than actually getting onto Yahoo. Do you see what I'm saying? Because sometimes when the audience is too broad, then you're not getting that target reach. No one is ever going to say no to being on CNN. The views are just too big. It's 68 million hits a day, unique hits a day on CNN.com. So you definitely want to strive for big media, but to be on really targeted podcasts that have an established audience, even if that audience is 10,000 people, your conversion rate on those 10,000 is probably going to be 90%. Versus the 2 million where you may get a conversion of 2%. So come talk to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The other thing about that is, again, I come from traditional radio, is that it's hard to get in there. Has anybody ever sent an email out and you're just waiting for them to respond back?
Yeah.
And you get crickets.
Here's the thing. How do you know your email got to them? How do you know they read it? And how do you know they even took the time to do that? Because there's these companies that every once a month on a Friday, you are allowed to delete all your emails. Did you know that? So here's the thing. 1,209 emails I sent from October 3rd, 907 companies that I sent to, right up until today's Friday, right up until Sunday. I kept track going back into the send. I would call these companies, like I have Byton, I have an influencer car company, Byton the car company. They're sending me one 2020 car in March of next year. I'm probably getting 2 because of the numbers. Because of that, one for the East Coast, one for the West Coast. But the thing is, I didn't get any phone calls back from them. So going back to what Katarina would say, I went to the CES show, which I've been attending for years. I got all of them. I say, hey, this is my pitch. I'm Brian Sebastian with Movie Reviews and More, the Women's Broadcast TV Network, I2247. I have 2.2 million views as of today and counting. It's going to go up another 3,000 to 7,000, now 9,000 views a day. I have 61 million views a month and 97 million followers in my social media network. And I wait for their response. Because you know what? They need me more than I need them. That's the answer. So here's the question to that is, no matter what, start your own podcast, start it out of your house if you have to, but find it, eventually you're gonna have to find a location to house it. Because publicists are gonna say, well, I can't bring my client to your house, so sooner or later you're gonna have to graduate up. Think about that. Also about location. Anybody else?
I just had a question. I was just curious for each one of you, what you thought you did that really leveraged your brand, like took it up, click. You know what I mean? The one thing, you know, that was like your aha moment.
I think I had to hone into what my passion was fitness. That's what I mean, because again, I always wanted to be an entertainment host and do something in entertainment, but I had to have something special about me. So that's, I think, what I did. So.
I literally had to get my head out of my own ass. Really is the polite way to say it. I had to just quiet the little voice that was saying you can't. You had to get clear, yeah, and you just had to say, thank you, little voice. I know you're there from the caveman days to keep me safe. I don't need you, and I'm just going to move in the direction that my heart wants to. What happens is we become really cerebral, and the minute we allow our minds to get involved, we're going to talk ourselves out of it.
I think I had to do that too, though. I had to believe
So to bring
in
it back down, like a little elevator, what is my heart really feeling? And that's the right move for me. And that took me a long time to allow myself the mental permission to listen to this space, because we're trained to listen to this space.
Yeah, for me, it was, I had to learn to change my thinking around. I can change my thinking pretty quickly now, but also with my partner, Montague Pope LeBeau, you need someone you can bounce ideas off. You can't do it by yourself anymore. This is just not that time or energy. You gotta have someone you really trust. You can just throw some ideas and see if they work. Because if it's all in your head, well, it's all in your head, but you think it's good, but it may be crap. So you have to have someone who really gives you an honest and open answer.
And also, big advice, look for a mentor, look for a coach, look for somebody who is a few steps ahead of you. If you want to become a fitness guru, you're going to get a fitness trainer. If you want to be putting money into your 401k, you'll get a financial planner. If you want to step into the media, get some media consultation. Just get the consultation from people that have maybe have some stuff to share with you.
We got 3 minutes left. Anybody?
I wanted to say one more thing. Again, like she's saying, don't be afraid to ask for help. I mean, that's why I bugged Brian. I just said, this is what I want to do. Will you help me? What direction should I go into? And I think sometimes we're afraid to ask because we're afraid that people are going to say no. But I mean, somebody's going to say yes if you keep being persistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank everybody. If nobody has any questions, thank you. Appreciate it for coming out, because this watch and see what happens from us from today on. Just watch and see. So remember this: by November 8th, actually by the end of next month, we'll have 4 million views.
A day.
By November 8th, we'll have 10 million views just based out of Tennessee alone. I'm not counting women on TV. I'm not counting my YouTube channel, which is at 876,000 views right now. So that will reach 1 million by the end of next month also. But it took a long time. I kept putting up content, and it's pretty much celebrity based, but it took a long time. So be prepared. It's not going to happen overnight, but just be persistent. And I would say, It's a marathon, it's not a sprint.
You're right.
Well, you said a long time, wanna take that into years, months, what is it?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Every single actor I've interviewed, every single one, it didn't happen overnight. And I have the tape on every single one, whether it was Robin Williams, whether it was George Carlin. They all helped each other in the comedian world, whether it was Brad Pitt. You know, he got his start because someone took his chance on him in Thelma and Louise. He took his shirt off. He said, yes, look where Brad Pitt is now. The last 5 Oscars have been from Plan B Productions. That's Brad Pitt's company at Paramount. Guess what? They're all minority films, too. You seen those people of color all of a sudden winning films? Brad Pitt took a chance on them.
But you
Remember,
know,
I'm in film noir. I got to watch all this stuff.
Yeah.
you can look at it as a journey too. I mean, I try to look at each step that I make a journey into my final goal and just enjoy that ride. And when you start enjoying that ride and kind of looking back and go of where I came from, then it just kind of falls into place, if that makes sense.
And the last thing we'll say before we leave, I want to thank Daryl and Linda and their friends from coming down from Ohio. Please talk to them about this because they have some great product. And you know the exact number? 1.3 million views on the 2 shows that they were on last year. It's only been a year and what, 3 months? And they're back, aren't they? They're here. We found them at a gifting suite. Terry interviewed them. When Terry was interviewing them, I'm like, I could do something with that. That's how it started.
All right. Folks, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're happy to help.
Last thing real quick, give your social media.
Oh, my social media is nonstop Terry Marie because I'm nonstop on all platforms. I'm going to have a new website coming up in the next 3 weeks, which is going to be Terry Marie Official. So, you guys look for that.
Yeah, and I think everyone has my card. You can also go to Katarina360.com. Katarina360.com takes you to my YouTube channel, my Facebook, my all of my social media, and gets you direct into my private calendar. If you want to book a meeting with me, they're normally $500 an hour, my consulting fees. If you send me an email through my calendar and tell me you were at Swift, I will waive that for you. Really happy to help share.
And I'm Brian Sebastian, so you can follow me on YouTube. So it's just movie reviews, the letter N more. Movie reviews and more, because when YouTube changed their things around, they wouldn't let me have A and D, so I had to get creative. Because the bigger companies now are changing things around, so you got to be able to change to stay ahead of them. Thank you from everybody
Thank
for
you,
coming.
folks.
Thank you.
Really
Yeah.
appreciate it.